Hi, I'm Pam. I'm a Mexican illustrator and comic artist. I've been drawing and making comics for over 10 years, or even more. I've made some experimental comics, some short fan comics, and also the usual webcomic on hiatus. Como Termina la Canción is my first self-contained one-shot comic with over 90 plus pages. It's been one of the biggest challenges for me yet. The reason I started this comic was honestly out of frustration with myself and with the stories that I saw at the time that were getting published and were really disappointing. I also seek to finish the comic, a story, anything really that was authentic to myself, even if it was something very silly but still undoubtedly loud and Mexican. Not to say that the comics before this one were not authentic, but I did feel like I had been pulling back a part of myself so as to not alienate others from my stories. When I began this comic, I honestly did not have a completed outline. All I had was a premise and vibes, which I used wholeheartedly to begin creating once again. In a time that seemed so uncertain, I began drawing again. I had stopped drawing due to burnout, and the start of the pandemic made the burnout feel heavier. So, with a silly premise in hand and a resolution to make a comic for myself that embodied how I felt, I just didn't know it yet. Como Termina la Canción began to take shape. A story about a mariachi and a cursed enchanter, both carrying a lot of pain within themselves, brought together by chance. Well, by a talking cat, but the cat is a personification of a chance or fate, or however you want to see it, really. How these two people, specifically Rafa, learn to see past their pain and realize there is more to life than dwelling in one's pain. So very much like my character, I wanted to finish a song, or in my case, a story, and to move on from that ache and pain I had been carrying and start making art again. And if I could do that while also showcasing how beautiful and charming the charro outfit and that the mariachis wear, that'd be great as well. So for the actual making of the comic, I had set out some limitations and goals for myself. The first one being that I would make this comic in a limited palette, mostly for efficiency and to save time on coloring. My goals were also to practice my inking and experiment more with layouts and paneling. Paneling and layout are actually some of my favorite parts of comics. The ability to showcase your art and story is up to you, so whatever is most effective to convey what you want to say goes. So the sky's the limit, baby. You can go walls to the pole. you can The line art at the start of the comic, you can tell that I was still using it as I would if I was doing full color comics, pulling back on the inks. The later part of the comic, you can finally see that I'm finally able to be more loose with the inks and filling in more blacks, or in this case, blues. For this comic, I also did the translation to Spanish myself, a bit clumsily, but I learned a lot, and I would like to do the same for any future projects, as I think it was very fulfilling. Spanish is my first language, so it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. So English is my second language, and I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I shared this comic both via my website as comic pages as well as Webtoon and Tapas in scroll format. And although I had to basically Frankenstein my pages together and edit each panel and sometimes even each drawing to make it fit the Webtoon format, I learned a lot about adapting the comic pages or the comic's layout to better serve its intended platform. Finishing the comic while working freelance and also pitching my other webcomic as a graphic novel was at times really tough, but having finished it, I honestly wouldn't have done it any other way. I learned so much from it, and I can't wait to see what other stuff I learned from future projects. All this to say, it doesn't really matter how messy or when you start your comic, as long as you start it. Outline or no outline, knowing the ending or not knowing how it's gonna end. You're not wasting your time as long as you're learning and creating. Continue to motivate yourself, complete it, whether it be by envisioning it in your hands or to share it with others or simply to prove you can or out of spite. Hold on to something that will anchor you and continue to inspire you to complete it. The reason might change along the way as it did for me, but the goal will remain the same, to complete it. So make it because you want to be able to hold it, because you want to see it out in the world, because you want to see that if it's possible, because it comes from you. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again.